Hi, welcome to my podcast. My name is Leeanna, and I'm going to be talking this series on spirituality, consciousness, and integrating your life in a healthy way in society and as a collective. What I'm really going to focus on in this series is not only me talking, but me interviewing other people as well. But this first episode is just to give a little bit of background on myself and my spiritual journey along the way. This episode is going to really touch on the spiritual journey and the start of it, and how my journey can hopefully help and reflect onto yours. So, a lot of people ask themselves, what is spirituality? Where do I even start? What is soul, consciousness, and what is the higher self? To give you a little intake, my spiritual journey started when I was really young, experiencing a lot of dark and evil things. To be spiritual means you have a dual in nature. And there's duality in nature of all things, whether that be evil or good in the world, light and darkness. It is the balance and just how nature evolves in itself. Spirituality is an evolution. It's not just an evolution of the body, it's an evolution of the mind, the soul, the spirit, emotional intelligence, and also connection to yourself and nature. So why is darkness a really important aspect of spirituality? Well, you wouldn't have awareness of the light without darkness. And this was one of the first things I realized when I was a kid, was this split of duality in nature. Growing up, I was sexually exploited and used and manipulated and beaten by my own father. My mother was also a drug addict and struggled with a lot of depression and abuse that she was also suffering from my dad. With this darkness, I've been able to see the beauty of love in things. And I know this is really difficult to understand or conceptualize. How can such evil turn me to understand such love and compassion? First, when I was suffering all this abuse and pain, I was still a kid. And that inner child and kid that was always within me and stuck to me today is one of the first awarenesses that I was able to come to as an adult, to the light within darkness. That even though all this evil and brutality that was done to me when I was a child, I was still able to be a kid with such passion and love for life, especially when I would be a kid in nature. So, as an adult today, how I've been able to find the light within the darkness is tapping into that inner child that, even with all the abuse and shame and guilt I felt for my body and what happened to me, I was still able to express myself and be more one with myself and my body because of that innocence and purity of being a child. So that experience of darkness, that was the first step of me having awareness of what I believe the spirit, soul, and life force is no matter the evil, there is the duality of the polar opposite that's within you. And that's what you should tap into, is integrating that darkness to become more light. And integration of darkness is a really difficult subject to even talk about, because if you're not even aware of your own problems or ego that's holding you back or behavioral patterns, you're not going to have that consciousness to even expand to the light. And you see this in society too. You see this with people that have millions of dollars and billions of dollars, and they have all this money, but they're not really happy. They find no joy and light in their life. The second awareness of darkness and how I started my spiritual journey is also being such an outsider towards society. Meaning that my keen awareness, because of what I went through, I've been able to go throughout my life and calculate and expand and understand things at a different consciousness. And what I mean by that is I've been able to be more grateful for the little things. I'm grateful when I see a kid playing in the park, because instead of feeling sorry for myself and the things that I went through, so getting rid of victim mentality, I've been able to be thankful and grateful. Wow, there's kids that still experience such beauty in the world, and regardless if I went through that or not, it exists. And with that, that gave me a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of clarity and healing for my own inner child. So throughout life as well, I also was kind of a loner. I found peace and serenity in being with myself, even in school when I was taken out of my home for 8 years of being sexually exploited and trafficked. I began to understand also my separation from my classmates, and even with my experience and what I went through, I was still very free. And with that, I became really conceptualizing, wanting to understand the truth. This is something that a lot of people when I was a kid didn't really want to face. A lot of kids, they don't want to face their own truths or the things that they go through, so they project all of their pain onto other people. And this still happens today when people are adults. I was bullied a lot in school. I spent a lot of my time alone, really focusing on myself and how I can be, for example, the best athlete I could, or the best musician, the best artist. I really started integrating different levels of my consciousness and creativity to heal a lot of my childhood trauma, even with all the bullying and neglect, and even the trauma that I was facing with growing up with my aunt and uncle. This being a lone wolf for many years has actually helped me become more aware of my own problems and darkness and seeing that reflection in other people. So even though I'm alone, I'm never really alone, because I realized how the connection of consciousness is in everybody and everything, and we're all just reflections of each other trying to get to the same place, which is back to source, back to consciousness, and finding our own way through the world. And I recognize this as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. So a lot of my awareness of spirituality did come from my negative experiences, and I'm really grateful for that. And I know sometimes that can sound super toxic positive, but I'm not positive all the time. I definitely go through my struggles, my ups and downs through life. I'm still really angry about the things that happened to me, and that's okay that I'm angry. I can still choose to heal that anger every day by not projecting that onto other people. It's okay what happened to me wasn't okay. I can sit with that and still be a healed and forgiving person for what happened to me. And I can choose to express that anger, which is integrating that shadow, which is one of the biggest first steps into the spiritual journey, is understanding your shadow self. So how I heal that anger is I do Muay Thai. I do a lot of athleticism and working out my body to express all of this like pent up inner child rage to what was happening to me, and I can protect myself as a kid. Will I ever put my hands on somebody? No, unless I see you actively hurting someone that I care about, or trying to push me or kill me. Probably not. However, the point of what I'm trying to say is that for your own journey of understanding the shadow is to also not be scared of it. Don't be scared of the things that happen to you. Don't be scared to dive in deep into the negativity, into the pain. Sit there in your room, meditate to the things that happen to you, and cry for an hour. Take that time during your day to actually feel what happened to you, because a lot of society and collective programming conditions people to not feel anything. That emotions are bad. To feel is to be vulnerable, and you need to be vulnerable in the pain that you went through in order to heal it. I really, really hope that this little podcast, this first 10 minutes of this series, is a good opening and also a good guide of learning a little bit more about myself and the start of my own spiritual journey, and how you can integrate your shadow into yourself. Sit, think, and reflect. Are the bad things that happened to me, am I still really okay with it? If not, here's why. Here's why the things that happened to me are still affecting me today as a person. A, B, C, D. And here are the possible solutions that I can maintain and start to build a new loop, a new habit, in order to replace these bad conditionings. And the first step, like I was saying, is healing the inner child wound, healing the darkness that's happened to you. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you all. Source, Allah, consciousness, whoever you want to call the thing that is connecting all things at a subatomic level and vibrational frequency that is love, light, and energy. Have a beautiful rest of your day.